Today we discuss a show that's better than the Oscars, the Blue Bomber making a comeback, and a couple subreddit topics. All that and more on Hello Nintendo. Hey everyone, I'm your host Matt, aka Trainaz, back again for another episode of Hello Nintendo. Joining me today is Alec, aka the Scottish Lion. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Despite my my voice and my throat's going again, I just can't seem to shake this cold. Ever since my oldest started school, it's been nothing but a revolving virus in my house. It's getting really annoying. It's what happens when you got kids that go to school.
Yeah, it is just kind of what happens. I remember those days.
So before we kind of get into things, let's just quickly talk about what it is that we've been playing in the past couple weeks. So, Alec, what about you? What have you been playing in the last couple weeks?
Yeah, well, I haven't been playing much, so I've just stuck to primarily Animal Crossing once I've had the opportunity. Played a little bit of the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp game. No more than like 15 minutes at a time. It's pretty fun. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's fun to kill time with real quick. It's cute. It's Animal Crossing. Can't ask for much more. But last night I had some extra time, so I actually started out Metroid Prime. I've never played any of the Metroid Prime games before.
What?
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
no,
man.
It's a blast. It is incredibly fun. So I'm about an hour into the first one. It's really good, and I can't wait to get into it more. And I'm now really excited to see what Prime 4 has.
Yeah. Prime 3 is the one I never finished, but I just couldn't do the motion controls. Just could not do it, so.
Yeah, see, I'm trying it out on the Dolphin emulator, so that might have a little bit of a difference once I get around to Prime 3. So we'll see. What if you're a Metroid Prime fan, what's one thing in Metroid Prime 4 that you're looking forward to the most?
Kind of that return to the exploration, that first person exploration view is kind of what I'm looking for. I really liked it when Metroid was taken from the side scroller to the first person. Really actually quite like that, because you now get to experience the Metroid universe from the perspective of Samus. And yeah, it's one thing to see all the worlds and stuff, at the side, and yeah, sure, they look nice, but once you got dropped into that third person or that first person view, it was unbelievable. And with what Retro Studios was able to do with the GameCube and then even on the Wii was awesome. I just thought they looked phenomenal, and I can only imagine how much better they look now on the Dolphin emulator, especially because you can just crank the internal resolution up, and you can add anisotropic filtering and everything, which, from what I've heard, when you do that to the Prime games, they look phenomenal.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
You know what? I'm not that technically expertise, so I haven't messed with it because I'll probably end up breaking it somehow. But I mean, it looks nice. It looks nice just from kind of the default settings. I don't have the most powerful laptop, but it's running.
Oh, okay.
It's running great, and yeah, I don't want to break it, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, are you playing it with keyboard mouse controls, or are you playing it with a controller?
Keyboard mouse controls.
Yeah.
I took some time to set that up, and it's definitely worth it.
I think that's something that I'd like to try at some point. Is to play Metroid Prime with keyboard mouse, just see what it's like. Maybe I'd finally be able to play through Prime 3 if it plays nicely.
That's what I've heard, is that people who struggled with Prime 3 had a lot better time with it on a keyboard mouse.
Might have to set up Dolphin then, because I think I own Prime 3 on disc, so I wonder if I can even just play it off the disc. But I'm kind of jealous. I'm kind of jealous because you get to experience the Prime trilogy, the storyline and everything for the first time, and it's because it's such a great game. It's a great series. Even the story was really good. So I'm jealous that you get to experience that for the first time, and I kind of wish I could go back and re-experience it again, for the first time essentially.
Yeah. Well, good. That makes me even more excited to get into the series.
Yeah. Oh, in Prime 2, there's a scene partway through, and yeah, I know it was just on the GameCube, and it's the resolution, everything wasn't as high, but just looking out at the scenery and everything with the music playing, like I'd catch myself occasionally just kind of standing at the edge of a cliff and just staring at the scenery, just because of how beautiful it looked. And hopefully you can crank some of those settings up on your laptop, because I think it'll look even better. I think it'll really look even better.
Nice. I'll try that out. I'll definitely try that out.
Awesome. And if you like the music, look up Stemage and Metroid Metal. He's done metal covers of the Prime trilogy songs. I don't recall if he's done all 3 soundtracks, but it's enough that if you like that kind of music, you get it's a good selection. So definitely check that out as well.
Yeah, I'm not a huge metal fan, but another person who did if you remember the person who did all the Majora's Mask remakes, Theo Fanny, he did one
Sounds familiar,
of a Bren Star remake, which was really good, and I do enjoy the music. It's very atmospheric.
Yeah. Yeah, the Prime soundtrack translates really well into metal, especially the Space Pirate theme and the Prime 3 intro. All translate beautifully well into metal. So just even if you don't necessarily like it, still give it a listen.
Will do.
You might be surprised.
Cool.
So have you anything else you've been playing or been up to?
That's it. I've just been busy, work, life, everything.
I hear you. I tried Animal Crossing Pocket Camp a little bit as well. I'm not a big phone gamer, so it's probably one that I may not even really touch much anymore. I mean, I don't even really touch Super Mario Run or Fire Emblem, very often. If anything, I tend to just kind of stick to Solitaire on my phone. But I've been playing Worms WMD. Picked that up once that got released, and love it. Yeah, I love being able to play Worms, especially on the go on the Switch. I've done one online game so far, and that was fun. I was the first one eliminated, but still had a lot of fun. And I've also been playing a lot of LA Noire as well, and that translated into the Switch quite nicely. It definitely has some issues, and you can tell. Now I've been playing it mostly portable, so it could just be the fact that the performance of the Switch is toned down when you're not on AC power, but draw distance and even a little bit of frame rate lag occasionally, especially when you get into a bit of busier areas, tend to happen. But the animation is great, and everything else is awesome. Like, those 2 small things aside, very happy with the game. So, but yeah, and with Worms, my only real gripe is that there's no just basic skirmish. It's got missions and stuff, but there's no just jump into a game of Worms. And now maybe I'm just misreading the single player part, but I kind of really wish it just had a basic skirmish mode, because sometimes they just want to fire up a game of Worms.
Yeah, that seems pretty necessary to have just kind of like a free game mode if you have some quick time. Now, as a person who's never played Worms before, how much did it cost, and has it lived up to the past ones? I'm not too familiar with the series.
Cost-wise wasn't too bad. I don't remember how much it cost for me, but don't forget, being in Canada, my game prices are a little bit higher than yours. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to quickly do a Google search on that. In terms of if it lives up to past Worms games, I definitely think so. It looks and feels and acts just like Worms that I've played on PC, because I think I've got Worms WMD I know I've got a couple Worms games, so but yeah, it definitely lives up, and it's translates beautifully onto a handheld console. Essentially, does quite nicely. So if you like Worms, I highly recommend picking it up. Really do, because it's great, and it's nice to also see more games like this come across. So let's kind of get into our news topics. Our first one is the Video Game Awards. It was just the other day. Did you happen to catch that?
I did not. I was busy.
It's okay. I missed the first maybe 10 minutes of the show, and then I missed a little bit towards the end when I was putting my kids to bed. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. Definitely tell it was for a streaming audience as opposed to TV because of some of the language that was going on there. Excuse me. But overall, no, I thought the show was great. If anybody is unfamiliar, Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year, which, to be honest, is no surprise. I'm not surprised at all that Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year. Are you?
No, not at all.
No, that game has been hyped ever since it was first teased at E3. What, 3 years ago was it? Was it something like 3 years ago?
I'm gonna go and say we started to hear rumors about it 4 to 5 years ago, and I think first tease was at 3 years ago.
Yeah, with Link coming up over, or was he riding on a horse or something, and he then fires what we now know as the Guardian arrow at a Guardian. I think that was kind of the teaser, and that's all we saw. That's all we got, if I remember the trailer correctly.
Yes. Yeah, and if I remember at the time, there's actually people like Game Explained in an entire video about how that wasn't even Link. Because we saw so little of it. So it's been a long ride, and I think it was one of those games that if it didn't win Game of the Year, it is destined to win Game of the Year.
Yeah. I know it was. I think a lot of people were cheering for both Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. It was almost like those two games it was going to come down to one of those two games, regardless of what the other ones that were in there. I know the one game that really confused me how this was in the running for Game of the Year was PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Like, that game's in beta. It's only just going to be hitting Xbox One on the 12th, so pretty much the day before this episode gets released. And even then, when it gets released, it's still only going to be like a game preview, so it's not even going to be fully released. So that one actually really confused me. Like, how do you get a beta as Game of the Year that's not even officially, hasn't even been fully released yet? But I'm just glad that one didn't win.
Yeah,
I think there'd be a lot of people upset.
I've never played PUBG. I feel like that one was really community propelled into the spotlight. There's a lot of community events surrounding it. So I think it was a little bit more of and I know that it was pretty recent as well, so I think it was a little bit of recency bias that it got into there. Because it's probably going to have some technical issues. It's a community-generated game, but I think that, if I'm correct and from what I understand, it's a pretty complete idea of this game that a lot of different companies have tried so long to incorporate the MMO into a Battlefield game. Is that a correct understanding of it?
It's not really an MMO, kind of like an arena shooter. You get dropped into a map, you've got to find
okay.
You got to find weapons and armor and stuff like that. It's last man standing. Once you're dead, you kind of got to wait for for the round to finish. But that's kind of how it's been described to me a little bit. So yeah, if you want to watch PUBG, I'm actually going to be streaming that with the Xbox ambassadors on Wednesday on Mixer. So hopefully this comes out in time before the actual stream airs, so that you can actually tune in. So if you are on Twitter, if you locate me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is ReggieFizameme. I'll be tweeting about that when that comes in. So if you wanted to watch PUBG and watch me make a fool of myself, you can actually watch me do that with a bunch of Xbox people. So what else happened at the Game Awards? Mario Odyssey won Best Family Game, so no surprise there either. Metroid Samus Returns wins the Best Handheld Game. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised at those two?
This was Nintendo had a fantastic 2017, and this felt like a big applause, a big celebration to Nintendo's big 2017. And one thing that we can discuss later is, what does this mean for 2018? Because this sets up a huge precedent for 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You know, they came out this year with all guns blazing. You know, the release of the Switch at the beginning of the year kind of set the tone for how this was going to go, and they've just had success after success. I mean, they kind of stumbled a little bit with 1-2 Switch and that whole controversy about how, you know, you're paying full retail price for what is essentially a tech demo. 1-2 Switch is to the Switch as Wii Sports was to the Wii, and Nintendo Land was to the Wii U. So, you know, aside from that little bit, Nintendo has had a phenomenal 2017. And, I think, haven't they moved, just in the past, 6 months or so, they have moved the same number of Switches as the Wii U sold in its lifetime or something? Wasn't that?
That is a great question. I think you're right, or you're in the right ballpark. So
I'm just doing a quick search on this. So the Wii U sold 13.5 million units. The Nintendo Switch. So the Nintendo Switch has sold over half that. So they've sold 7.63 million units since its launch. So in less than a year, they've sold half as many Wii U's as half as many Switches as the Wii U over its entire lifetime. Like that's I would say that's a pretty good sign of a successful system. You know, so 2018 is I'm thinking about by June of 2018 they'll probably have exceeded the Wii U's lifetime.
Yeah, that seems like a good estimate. The 6 months in, I'd maybe put it a little bit later at August, September, but yeah, that's pretty incredible and a really great comeback. They kind of went all in on this system, and they blew it out of the park.
You know, they've done an awesome job. So, but yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think maybe by towards the end of summer, E3 will have been over. Nintendo will have shown off what's coming out in the latter half of 2018. I'm sure there's going to be some new big games that are going to drop around E3, which are going to also help boost sales. And the nice thing is that Sony is finally taking notice, because Sony and Microsoft have both kind of passed off Nintendo, and now with the release of the Switch, they're finally taking notice again, and they're not just going to kind of ignore Nintendo. So hopefully that also helps us see some improvements, and the consumers will benefit because there's going to be more competition. You know, that's kind of the...
Yeah, it's great for the industry. It's a really great sign for the video game industry overall that there's Nintendo is... not that they're ever gone, but that they're a very serious competitor now, even with, that they're, with those sales signs, it indicates that they can compete with hardware. Nintendo's magic, it's like that Disney magic. Disney cartoons aren't the most flashy thing out there, the new action movie, but that magic of Disney is always going to sell, and the magic of Nintendo is going to sell.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we also got a Bayonetta 1 and 2 is coming to the Switch as well. That is being released February 18th of 2018. And it's going to be the same as the Wii U version, so they're just doing, I don't know if it's going to be a 1-to-1 port or if they're going to bump up the resolution and kind of, clean things up a little bit, or if it's just going to be exactly how it was on Wii U. And then we also got a game which I think surprised a lot of people. Bayonetta 3 has been announced as a Switch exclusive. So that is now 2 Bayonetta games that are exclusive to Nintendo. Or did Bayonetta 2 get released later on other platforms? I forget. I honestly forget. I missed out on Bayonetta on the Wii U because I went pretty much all digital on the Wii U, and I'd heard that people buying the physical copy got Bayonetta 1 for free, but on the Wii U eShop you still had to buy it. But I thought the price was somehow cheaper for the two of them or something weird. But at least this time you'll be able to get Bayonettas 1 and 2 on the Switch. And then yeah, so I like that style of gameplay, that kind of brawler style. So I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. Definitely picking it up. What about you? Do you think?
No, and Bayonetta 2 was exclusive for the Wii U, by the way. But no, I'm not going to be grabbing this one. Bayonetta is a little bit. It's not the gameplay and the kind of the series doesn't really entice me. Sometimes you get a little bit too actiony for me, and I'd rather just go play Animal Crossing or something simple. But I'm really glad for fans of this series that this is coming. It seems like a great way for people who may not have, because that's the thing with the Wii U exclusivity. Bayonetta 2 wasn't as widely played a game as Bayonetta 1. I don't have stats to prove that, but this gives people a chance to get into the series and try it out before Bayonetta 3 comes in. So I'm glad for fans, and I'm glad for people who have always wanted to try it out but just haven't had that opportunity yet.
And I have a feeling we'll see come E3, we'll get a release date for that one. Is kind of what we're seeing. And it looks like Nintendo also showed off the Breath of the Wild DLC Pack 2, so we knew it was coming. We just got some more details about this. So there's new quests about the champions. Link is finally upgrading from a single horsepower as he gets a motorcycle. So I'm actually curious how that one comes about and how he ends up coming to get this motorcycle. There are 16 new shrines with shrine quests, which is great because I haven't even finished the existing ones, so it's not like I'm going to have to go back and redo anything. And it dropped actually the night of the Video Game Awards. So I turned on my Switch earlier and I saw that Breath of the Wild had updated, so I have a feeling that was the DLC because I ended up buying both of them after it was announced. Did you pick up the DLC pack too?
So I actually never beat Breath of the Wild. I got it. And then I actually, whenever my sister would come over and hang out with me, she just started to play it around last April. We actually, she just beat it this past 2 weeks ago. And it, complete side note, but we both kind of agreed that it was a bit of a letdown at the end. I'm going to give a spoiler tag here. I'm not going to say too much, but there was a bit of a letdown. There was not that big final climactic, okay, you're done. There is no that big sense of accomplishment. And one of the reasons that we kind of were talking about it, and there's not a real connection to any one character because it leaves so much openness to do. And so we both, were, well, first, from being on here before, I've ranted against DLC before. But there's also that, it's the game's over. There's no real. It got tedious. It got a little bit tedious, and the new shrine quest would just kind of seem like more tedious. But if you like the design of the exploration, if you like the design of the shrines, it'd probably be something that you'd want to continue your adventure. And spoilers here.
The one thing I was really surprised is because of these DLC packs that were planned and with how much content is in the game, is that Breath of the Wild is once you defeat Ganon, if you were surprised at that ending, then I think, I got nothing to say to you. But once you defeat Ganon, you can't continue playing the game because there's still so much more to do. That was kind of my biggest surprise, and actually the one thing that really disappointed me about the game. I got over the fact that your weapons and everything breaks and whatnot, and then I think it's a complete departure from the traditional Zelda style gameplay, whatever. But yeah, the fact that once you defeat Ganon, that's it. Because I think both of these DLC packs would be good to be able to keep playing. Post Ganon, they could even changed all the character. They could have done a lot, but that's okay. Game's been out for long enough. I think we've kind of complained about it enough to death, so there's no point in kind of going over that. Our second news topic is Mega Man Mania. So for the first time in 7 years, Capcom is making a brand new Mega Man game. Mega Man 11 is coming in 2018. We've also got the Mega Man Legacy Collection Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 also coming in 2018, and all 8 Mega Man X games in 2018 are coming as well. And the Mega Man X games is going to actually be quite exciting, because after Mega Man X3, I believe it was, the series departed from the Nintendo and went to the PlayStation, I think. I remember playing, I think it was Mega Man X5 on the PS1, and a friend of mine and I played through and beat that one. And then Mega Man 8 was a PlayStation game. And then 9 was the last one that I remember being released originally for the Wii. It was on Wii, 360, and PS3, if I remember correctly.
So I have no experience with Mega Man whatsoever. I've never touched a Mega Man game before. But
oh my goodness.
And yeah, Mega Man 9 was the last one released for the Wii, Xbox. This is good news, though. This is really good, because this is Capcom coming back to Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And Capcom is one of they're a stickler when it comes to business practices. If you've followed the Capcom versus Marvel mess, Capcom makes some really weird business decisions. And the one thing that this gives me hope for is that the Nintendo Switch is going to be getting Monster Hunter. So, even though Mega Man has no bearing on me, I really hope that the Switch gets a Monster Hunter. And this just means, like we were talking about earlier, more games for the Switch, more opportunity for people to jump back into it.
I'm glad that I'm also really glad that this is coming to the Switch, because I know Capcom was kind of waiting to see how Street Fighter sold to determine if they were going to continue supporting the platform. At least that's what I'd heard, and they must have been okay with that, or Mega Man is just kind of one of those like, let's we'll be nice, we'll just give that to them. And actually, small correction, Mega Man 10 was released on the Wii as well. That was in 2010. Sorry, so not Mega Man 9. It was Mega Man 10 was the last one. So it's been a while since we've had a Mega Man game. I will probably pick up all of this, especially the Legacy and the X Collection, because I do quite enjoy playing them. I've only ever finished, I think, Mega Man X, X5, and then honestly, that's it. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I finished 2 games out of the entire series.
Well, it's better than never having even touched a Mega Man, so you're one up on me.
That's true. That's very that's very true. Very true. So yeah, 2018 is going to be the year of Mega Man, it seems, with a ton of Mega Man content.
Do we have release days for those?
So we're going to move as far as I know, it's just 2018. Yeah, as far as I know, it's just 2018, but I could be wrong. I'm sure someone will correct us in the comments if we are. So moving on to some subreddit topics. This one, kind of, I think Brooks is sad that he wasn't able to join us today, because would be right up his alley. Moveset changes in the next Smash. So the question is, could we see Cappy make an appearance in the next Smash Brothers, and Mario throwing Cappy be a new move for him, or potentially possess one of your opponents? What do you think?
Yes. For two things here. First, we're assuming there's going to be a new Smash game, which is a little bit of a problem. But let's jump into the fun hypotheticals. And yes, Smash, when you look at the Smash series, there's always been a point to it to kind of use it as a sales platform for the other games. There was if you look at the Melee, they included Roy, I believe, before Fire Emblem was even released in the West. So it's always been a little bit of a sales platform. Mm-hmm. So if there is a Smash 5, you're going to see a lot of the new techniques, the new kind of aspects of these characters that they're creating be really intricate parts to their moveset. So yeah, Cappy's going to be a huge part of Smash 5.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, while I'm not a fan of the series, I mean, I'll watch people play it, but it's no surprise. I'm not hiding it that I'm not a fan of the Smash Brothers series. But yeah, I do agree with you there. And also to your point about Roy being released for Smash before Fire Emblem was announced. If you remember, Cloud, there's 2 Cloud amiibo that just got released a couple months ago for Smash. Could that be a sign that we might see the Final Fantasy VII remake? Or is that just a teaser because Final Fantasy 15 I think is coming to the Switch as well? I'm hoping Square gives us a copy of 7. But that's just a pipe dream.
If 15 or 7 come to the Switch, I don't want to make a bet. There's nothing that I don't know what I can do, but it's not happening. Yeah, but that's a fun hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean the Final Fantasy 15 is under investigation for the Switch, so I'm hoping that with how good the sales have been and seeing all these other companies come on board that we eventually see that to come about. But yeah,
you know what they're gonna do?
Sorry.
They're gonna torture us, and they're gonna give us the stupid chibi mobile version. That's what they're gonna port. I mean,
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that just because the game was designed around the PS4 and the Xbox One hardware, and it's only been out for a year now. So yeah, so I could definitely see something like that, like what happened with the Ghostbusters game. Was released, when that came out on PlayStation and Xbox and PC. The Wii got the cheaper cartoon version. So, but yeah, I could see that happening with this one, but potentially maybe we could see Final Fantasy 16 out on the Switch. Very similar, and be similar to their more powerful console counterparts. All right, well, you know what? I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I think we've had a couple pretty good discussions. The Video Game Awards was the biggest thing because that was the most recent big event. If you didn't get to see it, definitely check it out on YouTube. You'll be able to watch the whole thing. There were some pretty good trailers. You'll actually get to see Norman Reedus shirtless if you like him. It was actually kind of interesting hearing him talk on stage after watching 8 seasons of The Walking Dead, and he talks with this deep, grizzly kind of voice, and you hear him speak normally. It was kind of funny there. But definitely check out the Video Game Awards. Like I said, you can find it on YouTube. Really worth a watch. Alec, thanks again for joining me today. It's kind of sad we couldn't have Brooks, but at least I got to do another episode with you because it's been a while since you and I have done an episode together.
Hey, I had fun.
And as always, thanks for having me on. Now, if people wanted to find